Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nidhi and you are watching yet another video in our FAQ Sunday interview tips. So today's video topic is actually really very interesting and something I love talking about. And I was very happy to see that a lot of you actually had this question that you submitted on my website. So before we go ahead, just a quick run through. This is a series that I'm doing where I'll be making a weekly video based on the questions that you would ask me. So go ahead and ask me your questions on the website. When you go to my website, on the main page itself, the home page itself, there is a column that says Ask Nidhi. You can go ahead and submit your questions based on the categories. We take questions based on CV, personality, communications, Q&A, skincare, all the burning questions that you have. So go ahead and put in your question and I will pick one of the questions or, surrounding questions, and I will combine them together and make a dedicated video every Sunday, which is called FAQ Sunday Interview Tips. So without further ado, let's get started with today's video. And the topic for today's video is how to maintain an eye contact during an interview. So before I cover this particular topic, I want to talk a little bit about communication as a whole. I want to talk about why maintaining an eye contact is so important. And I also want to address a very important element, which a lot of us don't have a lot of clarity on, because, when we talk about how to maintain an eye contact, you would actually hear a lot of standard answers. But then nobody will ever tell you that it's actually okay to not maintain an eye contact at certain points in time during your interview. So how do you do that? Is it actually absolutely necessary to keep looking at your interviewers? Why is it that we actually look away when we are giving answers? So these are some of the things that I want to cover in today's video. So make sure you watch this video right till the end, because you definitely don't want to miss out anything in this video. Now, whenever we are communicating or when we're doing interpersonal communication, we have to focus on three important aspects. And let's go back to the golden rule of communication, which has been always talked about, Albert Mehrabian's rule, which is that only 7% of our communication is spoken words, 38% is the voice, and 55% is the body language. And eye contact is a part of body language. So let me share with you three important reasons, and I'm sure there are a lot more, as to why maintaining an eye contact is so important. Number one, it conveys confidence. According to the body language expert, trainer, and consultant Susan Constantine, if your eyes in an interview are fidgety or continuously shifting back and forth, this can mean that you're trying to conjure up an answer that you are not sure is the right one. So next time when you're in that interview, even if you don't know the answer, don't shy away, don't look away. Look into the eyes of the interviewers. Give them the confidence that I can handle this. Number two, it exhibits honesty. If you've been making good eye contact during your interview and suddenly you start blinking rapidly, when asked a question, this can indicate stress and a desire to avoid the truth, said Patty Wood, body language expert and author of Snap, Making the Most of First Impressions, Body Language and Charisma. Now, we always do this. Whenever someone asks us a question and we want to avoid the question, we tend to look away, or we tend to run away, right? Now, in an interview, of course, you cannot do that. So we do it with our eyes. We tend to stop avoiding the eye contact with an interviewer because either we're so stressed, we don't really know what to do, or we just don't know how to answer that question. A very classic example is that sometimes when people would ask you, why do you have a gap in your CV? And because you don't know what to say, you start looking away, right, left, and then you will probably come up with something, and then you will look at the interviewers and then you'll tell them, well, that's the reason, why I did this. Number three, interest and intention. Now, this is really, really important. Our eyes says so much. When we're excited about something, when we're enthusiastic about something, our eyes actually sparkle up. And that is where the interviewers will see that you are the person who's so enthusiastic, you are the person who's so passionate about this job. And by not maintaining an eye contact, by not allowing the interviewers to see this, you are actually taking away that opportunity that can possibly make you stand out. When a candidate is authentically interested in the conversation, there is a chemical released and the eyes dilate, said Susan Constantine. This is what the interviewers need to see, and that is why it's really, really important to maintain that eye contact. Now, let me share you a couple of tips as to how you can maintain an eye contact during the interview. Tip number one, don't stare. Don't look away. If you look away, you will be considered shy. If you stare, you will come across as someone who is very intimidating. Then what should you do? Because to be able to maintain an eye contact, you obviously have to look into the eyes of the interviewers. But how long should it be? Now, this is one of the tips that I want to share with you, which I've come across from the writings of Dale Carnegie, where it is talked about that you should look into the eyes of the interviewers long enough to be able to register what is the color of their eyes before you look away, because that is considered to be the natural amount of time you would actually spend, and it would not be considered as intimidating when you are doing that. So look into the eyes of your interviewers to register the color of the eyes, and then when you do that is the time to realize that you can move away, or you can, move your eyes to a different probably part of the face. Now, that's the second tip that I want to share with you. Obviously, you do not want to quickly look away, right? Because that would probably that would probably come across as really awkward, right? You're looking for 10 seconds into the eyes of the interviewers to register the color of the eyes, and then, okay, now it's time to look away. So to avoid doing that, an easy transition would be to actually do something that we call as power gaze or social gaze. So you can look away and then you could focus your attention on any of these parts of the face. But of course, please don't go down, because then it would actually be considered intimidating again, or it would probably considered as sexual, and you definitely don't want to do that with your interviewers. So that's how you can actually do that easy transition from looking into the eyes of the interviewers to actually looking away to a different part of the face. Now, of course, it's a little bit difficult, right, to get that right eye contact going. So let's understand, when should you maintain that eye contact, at least to give interviewers the impression that you are able to communicate with them by maintaining that eye contact. The best thing to do is to be able to maintain an eye contact when you are acknowledging. When an interviewer is talking and you're not talking, when you're acknowledging, when you're listening, that is the time when you should maintain an eye contact. It is always said that you should maintain eye contact at least 50% of the time when you're speaking, and you should maintain an eye contact at least 70% of the times when you're actually acknowledging or you're listening to the answer. But to me, I believe you should do that at least 90% of the times, because that is where you're not really involving other senses. This is the time for you to build rapport with your interviewers when you're listening to the question, when you're listening to the intent of the question being asked. So instead of actually focusing on the question itself, you rather focus on maintaining an eye contact and building that rapport with your interviewers by acknowledging to their question, by nodding, by smiling, by leaning a little bit forward, showing that interest that you have in their question, while maintaining an eye contact by looking into their eyes. So that is what I would do, and I would share as tip number 3 when it comes to maintaining that eye contact. And of course, in that process, when you're about to answer the question, when you're about to start answering the question, there are 3 main areas where you should continue to focus maintaining that eye contact, and that would be tip number 4. So a lot of times when people will ask you a question, where do you see yourself in 5 years from now? This is how we begin our answer. I see myself in 5 years from now working for this organization. Instead of looking away at the beginning of the answer, look into the eyes of the interviewers by just repeating the question. And when you are conveying an important message in the answer, for example, if I stay with the organization, I would definitely learn all possible skills to advance myself. Now, when you're sharing this kind of information, you don't want to look away. You don't want to say, if I stay with the organization, I will actually learn all possible skills to advance myself. And of course, at the end of the answer, you definitely want to make sure that the interviewers are again connected with you when you're ending the answer. So that's how you maintain that eye contact while you're ending the answer. So you've got to find that balance as to how you're going to tap on using the right tips and techniques that I cover in my coaching classes, where I teach you how to actually tap onto that creative memory, how to tap onto that experiential memory, so that you have enough time to come back to your interviewers when you have to maintain that eye contact when you're giving that answer. So I really hope that you have enjoyed watching this video and you've learned some valuable tips. If you did, please go ahead and like, share, and comment. I love reading your comments. And at the same time, if you still haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, go ahead and do that and press that little notification bell so that you can be updated when the next video comes out. And of course, we do have a lot of webinars coming up related to our coaching. We have just recently launched intensive fast track weekend interview coaching program. If you would like to be part of the coaching program, do come and attend our next webinar. I will share all the details with you very soon. Do follow me on Instagram, which is where I'll be sharing a lot more details. To follow us on Facebook as well. Do stay in touch and get connected with us and get our weekly updates through our emails. You can sign up for our newsletters, which is also on our website, and we will be sharing all these details along the week with you. So this brings us to the end of the video. Once again, thank you once again for watching, and do stay in touch. And as I always say, stay happy, stay pretty, stay handsome, and I love you guys.